A final battle is an exciting and expected event in most stories that tell tales of good versus evil. It can serve as the moment in the story where the protagonist and antagonist face each other to end the conflict and end the story they both have been tied to. The tension and investment that has been built up through the story may finally be released in this final clash, which can help define each character's growth and development. In the Star Wars Rebels episode Twin Suns, we see one of many final battles occur, this one being between Obi-Wan and Maul, two enemies who, at this point, have a long history, starting with their battle on Naboo, and came to an end on the sands of Tatooine, in their final duel. On this planet, 30 years on from their first encounter, both are in low states compared to where they used to be. Obi-Wan, once a respected member of the Jedi Council, now lives on Tatooine, in hiding. Darth Maul, once the ruler of Mandalore and feared across the galaxy, now wanders lost and alone. But both cling to the one thing that keeps them true to who they are. One clings to hope, while the other clings to hatred. As their encounter starts, Maul immediately begins to insult the Jedi, pointing to where he is now compared to where he once was. He looked upon Kenobi in this moment as a sad desert rat, a man who has nothing left and everything taken away from him. A sad, cowardly old man, hiding from the rest of the galaxy. But this is how Maul actually sees himself, and all these words he directs towards Kenobi could be equally directed towards him as well. Kenobi simply replies calmly, pointing out Maul's own flaws and how the former Sith apprentice is truly the one who has nothing left. In anger, Maul ignites his blade and puts out the fire, leading to a beautiful shot of the two standing opposite each other. Maul's red blade ignited, while Kenobi stands firm, his lightsaber remaining concealed. His Jedi duty remaining concealed. I love the detail of having Maul ignite his blade first. It shows how Kenobi has truly come to find his Jedi way in the Force, to only protect and never attack, an ethic that was lost in the war but Obi-Wan has become reacquainted with, in his isolation with the Force. But Maul pushes Kenobi. Knowing the Jedi wouldn't be here for no reason, he deduces Kenobi is protecting someone. This is when Obi-Wan finally ignites his blade, to end the conflict so he may protect Luke. For a brief moment, we see the young warrior in Kenobi return, as he wears the same stance he wore throughout countless battles, prepared for a long drawn-out fight. But he has evolved past that. He calms his mind, and proceeds into a different stance, showing the form of the evolved Kenobi, who has acknowledged his mistakes from the past. Then, with his mind calmed, he enters the stance of his master Qui-Gon, Ataru. He will end this conflict quickly, and now. Unlike Kenobi, Darth Maul hasn't evolved. His mind is still trapped in that moment in time so many years ago, so he doesn't see the deceit playing out before him. At that moment when Kenobi takes on the stance, a plan enacts in Maul's mind, the same tactic he used on Qui-Gon all those years ago. Anticipation grows as the two stare each other down. In this setting, there is no escape. There are no surrounding ships which one could escape on, no tunnels or passages one could escape through, no allies who could aid them. It is just them, and the vast desert of Tatooine surrounding them. They both understand in this moment that this is their final battle. One of them would die here and now. Soon enough, the anticipation reaches a breaking point as Maul attacks. The battle is the most quick and decisive we have seen in Star Wars between two masters, which helps it stand out. Having taken the bait, Maul attempted to use the same tactic on Kenobi that he used on Qui-Gon, but Obi-Wan has risen above that previous battle, and with his first offensive swing, kills Maul. Dropping his blade, Maul collapses, but he doesn't fall into the sand, but into Kenobi's arms. As Maul passes, he clings on to the idea of revenge, that the Chosen One will finally get the revenge he always wanted. But he uses the word us, referring to himself and Kenobi. In his final moments, he no longer sees them as two opposing sides. He no longer directs his obsessive hatred at Kenobi. He understands it was Sidious who is truly to blame for all of this tragedy, and no one else. It wasn't Kenobi's fault. His life was so terrible. And maybe this us extends further even beyond that. Maybe this us means all those who are wronged by Sidious. So maybe Maul no longer harbours hate for all those around him. Yes, Maul dies still clinging to vengeance, but as he dies he finally moves on past that single moment in time. He finally evolves to a new perspective. Obi-Wan, the man who Maul has taken so much from, Satine, Qui-Gon, and many of his friends. Upon his victory over his long-fought opponent, he doesn't gloat, he doesn't berate, he doesn't even simply walk away listening to Maul's last gasping breaths. Instead, he remains by Maul, and the same way he held his lover and mentor, he held his enemy, treating Maul no differently to those dear to him, showing who Kenobi truly is, who he has become. Someone who now sees beyond the lies in hatred and politics and has found the truth in the Force. And because of this, Maul, in his last moments, finally got to feel compassion from the man he for so long hated most. The way Obi-Wan's and Darth Maul's conflict was finally tied up in this scene is so poetic, and really shows how the relationship between Kenobi and Maul was one of the most beautiful things to come out of Star Wars, and their final fight was one of the best also. Often, these types of final duels are a massive spectacular clash where both opponents release all their power, utilising every skill and power they've learnt for all to see. A battle that would be remembered through all the ages. But as seen in the episode Twin Suns, a final duel can be quiet, in a private corner of the galaxy for none to see, and for only the one who was left standing to remember.